Hello, people! This is your host and host Kranti once again back with another new What If, and this is What If? Oh boy, aka Izuku Midoriya is Otsutsuki. So essentially, it's gonna be like what if Deku was an Otsutsuki? What if? Okay, so. In this universe, what we are gonna do is in this universe, what we are gonna do is all the quirks that is available in the main story and in the storyline, it's gonna be a derivative. Bloody hell, I can't even say derivative. It's gonna be like an evolution of chakra. So yeah, so essentially everybody's like whoever has like a quirk, they're kind of technically using a form of Keke Genkai exclusive to them, and they are exclusively a mutation of their parents' Keke Genkai. So yeah, it's gonna be like that. So because of that, so like Cork is like a next evolution of chakra. Okay, it's gonna be like that. So after that, after that world building, what essentially gonna happen is like a young Otsutsuki member who's gonna like go through the records of their clan, like which planet or which places they have conquered and they have not conquered. He would come up in a scroll that Earth is a place which they did not conquer, and like Kaguya, Otsutsuki, Momoshiki, Kinshiki, like all the Otsutsuki, they did not like fulfilled their mission and they failed at it. So he's gonna be like, well, if they can't do it, I'm gonna do it. So he's gonna do it, and he's gonna like use like a forbidden jutsu. What essentially it's gonna be a forbidden jutsu. It's not gonna be karma seal like. It's gonna be like essentially he's gonna use like a form of like rebirth jutsu, but instead of like rebirth, he's gonna be like he's gonna have his essence inside of a human child. So he's gonna be like it's gonna be like reincarnation jutsu. Yeah, I know that's an ass pull, but I mean, come on, it's my what if. So it's gonna be reincarnation jutsu do. So he's gonna have a reincarnation jutsu, and he's gonna reincarnate himself as a human boy. That's gonna be a Deku, but he's gonna have Otsutsuki power. So when Deku is born, he's gonna have like white hair and like Byakugan looking eyes, like really pale eyes, like, and they're like Hisashi and Inko is like, what? Like, it doesn't look nothing like ours. Doctors, like, well, it could be his mutation. Because of his coke mutation, he's gonna have that. And as soon as Deku gets born, after like few minutes later, he's gonna float. So then they're gonna be like, oh, our boy has like a flying cork or a levitation cork. Deku and Doctor is like, yeah, he's gonna have a flying or levitation cork. So they register him that, but he is gonna have all the power of Otsutsuki, like Byakugan with the enhanced vision of the Byakugan, the floating ability, the ability to absorb chakra, and ability to absorb chakra and then release it back like Momoshiki. And yeah, I'm not gonna give him Kinshiki's power yet, but who knows, in the future I might give him. So like it's gonna, like, this Deku is gonna be way more different compared to the Deku in the original timeline. He's not gonna be meager or weak, or like he's gonna have like a very strong personality, and he's not gonna be like driven by Bakugo all the time, and he's not gonna be like getting bossed around by Bakugo. He's like, when Bakugo snaps at him, he's gonna snap right back. And every time, like one time Bakugo tried to hurt him, and he just like used like a ginormous explosion, like for kids size. So he uses a explosion, and what Deku does, he absorbs the explosion, because it's like explosions creates fire. So he like explodes, he like literally like absorbs the explosion instinctively, and he's just like explosion style, Nimpo, explosion style, feedback. So he just like uses like a humongous like explosion barrage. So that's just like huge, and he's just like loading on like Bakugo, and Bakugo is like, man, I don't want to mess with that guy because that guy is fucking strong. That guy is like pretty fucking strong. So Deku can like Bakugo, like because of this relationship, Bakugo and Deku has, they don't have like a they don't have like a bully and like nerd kind of situation in the original timeline. What they have is like, okay, they have rivalry. You're better than me, but I will be better than you. So every time Bakugo tries to push himself and becomes like more powerful, Deku is like, okay, I'm gonna pull something out of my ass and I'm gonna beat you. So as he's an Otsutsuki, he can do that. I mean, come on, Otsutsukis are hella strong. And Bakugo is like, no matter how strong his explosions are, he can absorb them. I mean, come on, he's gonna absorb them. So so he's absorbing them, and he's like, so like Quark's like Todoroki's like fire and ice, or like Endeavor's ice, like fire fam ability, or the ice guy of the Metal Liberation Army, or the Dabi. He's just gonna like, I mean, is it even a question? Like, he's gonna absorb them, and like literally like even Kaminari's Quark, like lightning generation, he's gonna like absorb them, and he's just gonna redirect it back. So he's gonna have like his like Byakugan. With the Byakugan, he has like enhanced vision, and he like Deku becomes like really good at like hand-to-hand combat because he has a Byakugan. I mean, if you have a Byakugan, the Hyuga clan is like really good at chakra points. So if the human Hyuga clan, which is like who has like a very like diluted form of the pure Otsutsuki Byakugan, I bet like a pure Otsutsuki Byakugan can do better. It's just like all the Otsutsuki that we have seen in the anime thus far, and in the series, even to Boruto, they're not that well trained. So Deku, he's gonna train himself like physical hand-to-hand combat. So he's gonna like go to martial art dojo. So he's like anybody who uses like any kind of elemental long range or like medium range attack, he's gonna absorb them, and he's gonna go get close, and he's gonna like shut them down. He's just like uses like pressure points, and he's like on hand-to-hand on hand-to-hand combat, like close quarter hand-to-hand combat. Nobody, like even Bakugo, wouldn't dare like come and attack Deku because he's good. But he like so he even has like a counter for like long range and medium range attack too. He can absorb them and just dish it back. That's it. He doesn't like you need to hit him back. He can't generate his own yet, but he will. Oh yeah, he will. So like in the last day of like the school, like the middle school, and they're like, oh, teacher says, I know what you guys want to be. You guys want to become heroes. And after that shit, so like Deku goes to his home, and the sludge villain is like, oh kid, give me your body. He comes, and like Deku is like, hey, I saw you from miles away. What are you doing in the sewer? So yeah, sludge villain is like, kid, I want your body, like a pedophile. So he comes there, and Deku is like, okay, he's not using any kind of elemental attacks, so that I can absorb him, and he's sludge, so I can't use like basic chakra point closing on him because he doesn't have any body structure. Oh, I can do chakra blast, or I can do like air palm strike. Yeah, like the what Neji and Hinata could do is like he does like air palm strikes, and this is like force push, so it's like massively strong. It's like, huh! And the sludge villain like goes like behind, and it's like, kid, damn, you're so strong. I can't get near you. What are you, psychic? Do you have like this psychotic power, or do you have like psychokinesis? Like, no, I'm just like releasing my aura, that's it. It just gives him a vague explanation. All Might comes and All Might sees that he's pushing it, and All Might is like, hey kid, brilliant job that you're doing. And then Deku is like, oh, it's okay, I can do it even closer. So after pushing it, he can mold it and compress it, and he literally compressed the sludge villain into like a ball. And All Might is like, okay, that's smart. You have like a psychokinetic ability or not, or something. Yeah, it's kind of like my aura. It's not, I'm not psychic or something like that. So literally he squeezes like toothpaste, but he squeezes the sludge villain and puts him in the bottle. And All Might is like, kid, brilliant job. And Deku is like, All Might, before you go, could you give me an autograph? And All Might is like, sure kid, with the thumbs up. I can definitely give you an autograph. And he gives an autograph. And Deku is like excited, and he accidentally opens his Byakugan, and he sees that his chakra point, like All Might's chakra point, and he sees that he's hurt, and he says directly to All Might, All Might, I think you're hurt. And All Might is like, what are you saying, kid? I'm not. And Deku says, I'm being serious, these eyes. Then he activates his Byakugan, like Byakugan, and he's like veins popping out of his like eyes, and it's like, these eyes can see all, and these eyes can see your neuro chakra network and your like network of your power. There's a restriction on your abdomen, and I can see that you have like a dangerous wound. This eye, you can't get rid of this eyes. And Henry is like, oh crap, kid, yes, he tells the story about All For One, and he gets like, he got beaten up by All For One, and he like because of the battle he had to endure that injury. So Deku is like, well, I can try to heal you. So Deku uses healing jutsu, like medical ninjutsu, on him, and heals him. Not like 100%, but heals him pretty good. And like it's like, and Deku, when he's saying like, I can, like, it will take time, but I think I can heal you if you give me time. But and All Might is like, kid, damn, that's brilliant, like, thank you very much. I would love to train you. Deku is like, yeah, okay, that's good. Because kid, you should become a hero. You should go to UA High. And Deku is like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna become a hero. I'm planning on going to UA High. And All Might is like, it's a good thing, because I'm gonna be the teacher there. And after like few sessions of healing, All Might is like, kid, yeah, I feel 100%. I feel like extremely better. He's not like completely healed yet, but he's like 60% healed. Like he can hold his like all like his like big might form, or his like big might form for like let's just say for like 5 hours. Not 5 hours. I'm gonna give him like 7 hours. So yeah, he's gonna give his like he can hold his buff form for like 7 hours. Yeah. Which is like way better than like few like minutes, half an hour or 15 minutes. So yeah, he's like active, and he's like doing stuff. And Deku is like, All Might, how about the training? And before training, All Might says, kid, I want you to become my successor, because I want you to have the cork. And he tells the story about One For All, and Deku is like, okay, thank you very much, All Might, but I'm gonna decline, because I'm already powerful, and you didn't even saw half of my abilities yet. You should give this cork to someone who is powerless but has a very, very strong sense of justice. And All Might is like, yeah, kid, it's good. And Deku says, it's better to have two symbols of peace than one. And All Might is like, yeah, sure, kid, but I'm still gonna train you. And Deku is like, I wouldn't have it any other way. So through the 10 months, he's gonna like start his training around 8 months period. So he's gonna like clean the Dagovich like within a matter of like days. And he's gonna, after that, he's gonna do sparring session with All Might, because All Might is like close to like 90% of his previous health. So he can use the like his buff form for like around like 15 hours by this time, which is like a lot. So like that's good for him. So he's just gonna like use it. So in the last part where we left off, Deku got trained by All Might throughout the 10 months, and Deku also healed All Might with his like healing jutsu, because he's an Otsutsuki, so he can use some like jutsu. Why not? I'm giving him that power. So he's gonna like use that. So All Might is like on 90% of his like original strength. There's still room for more healing, but he's pretty much up there, which is a good thing. So Deku is gonna go to the entrance exam. So the incident with him falling down on his face and getting saved, almost falling down on his face and getting saved by Uraraka, doesn't happen, because he's an Otsutsuki. He's cool, and he's gonna, I mean, he can float, he can fly. Then why would he fall? So but the incident with Present Mike and Ida still definitely happens, and Ida questions, well, excuse me, sir, what is the purpose of the 0-point robot? And Present Mike is like, well, as I was saying, it's just an obstacle. You can either go around it, you can go through it. It's up to you, before being interrupted by a loudmouth four-eyes kid. And Ida is like, oh, my deepest, humblest apologies, sir. The prisoner is like, yeah, that's right, I know. So after that incident, the written portion is done. So this comes the practical battle portion of the exam, where Deku and all the other gang, by gang I mean like all the other students or like candidates in this timeline, in this time frame, candidates are here to perform for the portion of like what portion? Yeah, it's the battle portion of the entrance exam ceremony. So after that whole incident is done, so Present Magic is like, yeah, future UA High students and future heroes, are you guys ready for the exam? And he's like, let's go. And as soon as he says let's go, there's like 20 or like there's like a bunch of robots which is coming out, and Deku could feel it, and he uses his Otsutsuki power and opens like he unlocks, like throughout the training with All Might, he unlocks the Kaguya's space teleportation, like dimension travel jutsu. So yeah, he can literally like teleport to another dimension, then teleport back into our dimension, like Kaguya Otsutsuki. So he literally teleports on this, like on top of the sky, and then he floats and he like activates his Byakugan, and then he sees like, okay, target locked. Then he activates his Rinne Sharingan on his hand, and he just like launches like gazillion like humongous lightning chakra, like lightning jutsu, which is almost similar to Kirin, which Sasuke uses, and they just fries like 30 robots like within a matter of seconds. And everybody's like, oh, that kid is cheating, he's like doing that. And President Mike is like, real heroes don't wait for the timer or the starting line, they go when they have to go, cause that's what heroes supposed to do. Yeah. And after that, all the other participants, They go to the exam and they're wrecking like shit. They're wrecking like all the robots, and meanwhile Deku is just like bodying robot left and right. He almost earned like over 200 points, and it's absurd. But he's like he's like little bit depleted out of chakra, but I mean there are a lot of chakra left, but he doesn't have like lightning release. I'm gonna give him like a little bit of drawback. He has to have certain element stored within him in order to like release the jutsu. He can't he can't like generate like elemental type jutsu. Like the 5 elemental type jutsu is like lightning, fire, wind, water, and like earth. He have to have some kind of like jutsu or either natural variation of that thing within him in order to perform a jutsu using his chakra. But when 1 or 2 jutsu is done, that like the natural element is depleted within his system. That's because I have to give him a little bit of weakness. If I make him too OP, he's just gonna like spam Kirin and be done with the series. I mean, we don't want a Kirin spamming Otsutsuki who can fly and like shot Kirin or Indira's arrow. Like spam like Indira's arrow. We don't want that. If we do that, there's no point to this. Okay, so after that incident, Deku is like he's out of lightning chakra, so he's taking it slow, and he's like using his like, because he has like Otsutsuki strength, so he can use like several other forms of like jutsu. He uses he uses chakra to enhance his like physical attributes, so he can like punch hard, move fast, kick hard, which is like essentially he's like really strong. Not to the level of All Might strong, but he is strong. And on top of that, he can do 5 elemental stuff, and he can absorb all the other elemental quirks or attacks, even their subform, even like ice or explosion. Even like cement style, he can absorb that, because cement is essentially a form of derivative of earth. Yeah, so he is OP as hell. So after that, so he's like doing that, and the whole incident with the 0 point robot happens in this original timeline. In this what if timeline too, Uraka is trapped on the rubble, everyone is going, and Deku says, okay, damn, there's like a robot here, and the robot is like blast like humongous laser, like it's like a Kamehameha sized laser on Deku, and Deku just he thinks of something, and he activates like one portal, like spatial like space teleportation portal jutsu, and the laser just goes through that jutsu and goes to a world and definitely destroy a bunch of mountains there. And because he can't open like 2 portal at the same time, he can open only 1 portal right now, but he's gonna be able to open like 2 portals very soon, because the next arc, the USJ arc, is gonna be fun. If you can do space teleportation, it's gonna be fun. So yeah, after that he opened like 1 portal, which literally like he used that portal to literally get through the laser attack, which he didn't like. He essentially used that to dodge laser attack, because laser it's like a mechanical thing, it's not a jutsu, so he can't absorb it with Rina Sharingan. Okay, so but after that, the 0 point robot is like blasting some missiles at him, and the missiles like impact, and Deku is like moving across the field, dodging missile left and right. It's just like a glorious anime battle, amazing. And there's like fire, and he's absorbing all the fire with his Rina Sharingan, and then he uses like some kind of like dragon flyer jutsu, fire style Phoenix Flame Jutsu, and he uses that, and like all the metal is like the 0 Point robot is like steaming, it's like smoke coming out of it, and it's like fried, is severely damaged. And after that, Deku uses his like Otsutsuki power, floats there, goes at the top of like robot, and he uses his teleportation and space teleportation jutsu, and he literally takes the entire head of the 0 Point robot and teleports it to another dimension, and the robot is disabled. And after that, he gets a hold of Uraraka, takes her down on his hand, and just like he goes down, and he just like is like, okay, you're safe, but I gotta have to like go do the exam. And he goes there, and the timer stops, and he's like, okay, oh well, I think I'll definitely get. So he's confident in his ability, because he's gonna, I mean, come on, this Otsutsuki Deku is OP as hell. He's confident in his own ability that he's gonna get in. So when the result comes, it's like, hey, Izuku Midoriya, you go into UA High. Welcome to your Hero Academia. Yeah. And after that, Deku comes to like class 1A, and he sees like Bakugo and Ida arguing, and as soon as Deku comes, Ida apologizes to him and says that, man, you're like, he like bows to him, and he says, man, you found out the main thing about this test, that is like heroism. You acted like a hero, you didn't hesitate, jumped into action, and you also saved someone who needed saving, where everyone else were thinking and trying to like save themselves. You acted like a hero, you are an honorable hero, and I respect you, man. Please, I like take my apology, and Ida, bow to you. Tenya Ida, bow to you. And Deku is like, well, you don't have to bow. I was doing what was right. I was doing what a decent human being should do. Protect another fellow human being. And Ida is like, man, and you're so heroic. And Kirishima is like, that's so manly, with his manly tears flowing down on his cheek. So, like, after the whole incident, like, Aizawa is like, finally you guys are like stopped. Get your PE uniform. We are going to the field. We're going to the school grounds, and we're gonna have like Cork assessment test. And everybody's like, but what about the orientation? Like, heroes don't get orientation. They have to be prepared and ready for every situation. Yeah, that rhymed. So after that, they go to the orientation hall, and to the field, and after that, Aizawa gives the ball to Deku, and he's like, throw as hard as you can. And Deku is like, I just have to like get it to the maximum distance, yeah? And Aizawa is like, yeah. So he opens a portal, like a Space Ninja portal. Then he literally like takes the ball and flicks it with his finger, and he goes to the portal, and he closes the portal, and it's like infinity. And because it's out of this dimension, it's not even in this dimension, it's another world. And I was like, what did you do? And he's like, well, you told me to throw it as far as I could, so this is what I did. I sent it to another dimension. It's like you have like a teleportation cork, or like you could open warp gate. Like, yeah, kinda. It's and I was like, that makes me nostalgic, because one of my friend, he had that kind of cork. He was my classmate, Shirakumo. He had like teleportation warp gate cork, and it's like, well, mine is not a cork. I'm actually it's like an ability And is it as I was like, well, whatever it is, thank you, kid. You kind of took me to a good place where everything was better, and I do miss my friend a lot. So after that whole incident, like Deku aces the disc. Come on, he's like an Otsutsuki. He's like a Naruto character stuck in My Hero Academia, and he's like a Naruto character who's the final boss of the Naruto character. It's like Momoshiki, Kinshiki, Kaguya level character, like Momoshiki and Kinshiki level character or Urashiki level character stuck in My Hero Academia. What do you expect? He's gonna butcher the Cork assessment test. So he just wins everything, and after that is like Deku is the number one. Minata should have been like expelled, but he didn't got expelled. I mean, come on, grape baby juice. Everybody hates him. Every What If YouTuber probably hates him, but I don't hate him that much. He's pervy, but he's not that bad. Okay, so after that incident, we're gonna do the USJ arc. So in the last part where we were, Deku essentially had he demolished the Cork apprehension test, and he got in UI obviously. So now we're gonna go to the heroes versus villain, like the battle portion. So like, okay, this is today, the Aizawa says, today I am not gonna teach you guys a lesson, and the person who will teach you a lesson is coming right now. And All Might is like, ho ho ho, it is I, All Might, walking like a normal person, trying to teach you guys a new lesson, and we're gonna do combat training, yeah. And by the way, the clothes makes the pros, so grab your costume, my friend, my fellow heroes. So he like everybody grabs a costume, and Deku, he's gonna have like a Otsutsuki cloak, like the one the Momoshiki wears. He's gonna have like pure white Otsutsuki cloak, and so yeah, that's gonna, and people are gonna be like, man, that's trippy, it has good airflow probably. Yeah, Kirishima is like, damn, that's so manly, and Deku is like, yeah, thank you. I guess. Then, and he's gonna have like bunch of kunais in there, and some like a small like katana, not a katana, we'll have a small ninjato, because come on, he's from Naruto, so I'm gonna give him like little bit of like ninja gear. So some kunai, some shuriken, and some some ninjato. Yeah, ninjato, like some katana. So the heroes versus villain arc. So it's gonna be like Bakugo versus Ida as the villain versus Izuku versus Uraraka as the hero. So like the original timeline, they win, but how they win, I'm gonna say. So Bakugo comes and he just like uses humongous explosion, and Deku like puts his palm in front of it, and his Rina Sharingan activates, and he just like eats, he just like devours the whole flames of the explosion, and he says like, thank you, Bakugo, and he's like, explosion release, and he just releases like ginormous like explosion release, explosion style explosion. He just comments like, he just gives some like, put some hand signs, and he says like, explosion style, continuous explosion, and he doesn't even like explode anything from his hand. It's just like continuous explosion on the air, like from back forth, like from 4 directions, like omnidirectional explosion happening one after another. It's kind of like barrage of paper bombs, and Bakugo is like, what the fuck, what the hell? Bakugo is just like completely knocked out. And after that, Deku says to Uraraka, tie him up, we gotta have to take care of the speedy guy. So he goes there, and Deku creates Shadow Clone Jutsu. I mean, come on, he has chakra, so he knows Shadow Clone Jutsu. So not Shadow Clone Jutsu, he creates like a bunch of clone jutsu. So clones like coming from every direction. Ida is like, huh, it is I, the villain, will stop you, you hero. And he just goes there and reciprocal burst, and he kicks him, and turns out it's just a shadow, and like Deku and Uraka touch the bomb from behind, because Uraka can use zero gravity and Deku can literally fly. I mean, come on, he's an Otsutsuki, so he can literally fly. So he uses like some kind of like and he can use like space teleportation jutsu, so he teleports towards it, and Deku and Uraka just can like go there. I mean, it's just easy, just goes behind, like he sends like clones of Uraka and Deku up there. There's like 50 of them clones, like both of them 50, so 100. So Ida's like, oh, such tricks won't work on me, hero. And they just go from behind, and Ida is like kicking clones left and right, and All Might announces, winner, the hero team. And when they come, All Might says, flawless victory. That was textbook perfect, amazing. So after that incident, we're gonna go to the USJ arc, and in the USJ arc we're gonna do crazy stuff. Okay, so the USJ arc, because Kurogiri has like teleportation, not like he has warp, and Deku has like space-time ninjutsu, which is kind of like warp but for dimensional trouble. So that's gonna be like one hell of a trippy match. So the villains come, and Deku is like, okay, that's a problem. So there's like villains coming out, and he's like, okay, he just activates his Byakugan, and he sees like bunch of villains, and he sees like humongous villain in the water area, and then he deducts that, okay, the villains don't know about the students' coke. If they knew, like then Froppy, I forgot her name, wouldn't be in the water area. So he says like, okay, grab onto me. So Minata and Froppy, they grab onto him. He just floats, he just like goes upward, and he just like releases like lightning style, lightning thunder strike, and he just like creates like lightning strike, and every villain there is like flight, and they're like unconscious. So they're like unconscious, and it's just like, okay. Then he says like, protect your fellow classmates and defeat all of the other like villains. And he just like they just go ham on them, and he just goes to the main hero and main part of the part, and he says like 13 is destroyed because of Kurogiri's quirk, and he's like, oh, you can do portal, I can do portal too. And then what he does, he literally like when Kurogiri is like using his portal, because Kirishima and Bakugo is like trying to hurt him. So Kirishima and Bakugo, instead of going through Kurogiri's portal, Deku creates his own portal, and then creates another portal in the back of Kurogiri's, and they just like Kirishima just literally punches Kurogiri's head, which is like submerged in the mist, and like wrecks the shit out of Kurogiri. Kurogiri is like down for count, but before that he's like he just activates like the Nomu that is like trying to like the Nomu, the ginormous Nomu comes, and Deku cracks his knuckles like this, and he cracks his neck like this, and he's like, okay, let's go to party. By the way, that was me cracking my knuckles. And he just goes to a taijutsu battle with the Nomu. He's just like hitting him with like the Hyuga gentle fist technique, like 4 palms, 8 palms, 48 palms, 64 palms, 28 palms, 128 palms. It's just like he goes like that, and he's just like trying to like block his chakra point. But Deku, but the Nomu has like a shock absorption coke, and he can like shrug it off. And Deku is like, okay, so gotta have to be more direct. So it's like an awesome taijutsu battle between the Nomu and like everybody, and Kirishima says like, oh, that's so bloody manly, he's crying, and everybody else is just like, whoa man, that's amazing. And meanwhile Ida goes and he's trying to get all the like villain, all the not the villain, all the heroes to come here. And while they're doing the whole thing, like they're like the Nomu is getting weaker, but it's still not getting down. So Deku is like, okay, that's it, I'm gonna finish it. So he opens, like he like uses like some kind of like Rinnegan ability, like one of those Rinnegan abilities, and he uses like Shinura Denshi. So he just like literally pushes the Nomu like really far, but yet the Nomu is coming towards him, and he's like he literally uses the almighty pull, and the Nomu is coming toward him. And he uses like the planetary devastation jutsu, literally creates like that, and puts the Nomu inside of it, creates like a ginormous like it's like a miniature moon kind of architecture wise. Then Deku literally like uses he activates his space-time ninjutsu. Then he just uses like almighty push Shinra Tensei, and like literally puts the Nomu away in a different dimension, where it's like constantly falling acid from above. So even if the Nomu is like getting healed, it's in like constant agony, and that's just like effed up. Everybody's like, damn, that's too effed up. And they like, that's how he wins it. And every hero just comes. And yeah, every hero just comes to the premise, and they see like the Izuku is like not hurt. He's like not even skate a little bit. Like he doesn't even have any scratch or anything. And he's trying to like heal Aizawa, and Aizawa is like pretty much healed because of his like medical ninjutsu. So Deku is kind of like healing everybody, and they're like good. And he's like, where are the villains? And Deku is like, oh, okay, the villains. Because meanwhile he activated like massive space-time ninjutsu, and he like literally took like all the like knocked out villains in that dimension where gravity is like literally high, so they can't even get up because of the gravity. It's like that intense gravity. Remember, if you watch the Naruto, so they're like constant pain. So after when the hero says like, where are the villains, Deku's like, oh, they're just in a dimension, I just put them in a different dimension. Like, you just put them in a different dimension? What do you mean by that? He's like, oh, well, I can do that. And he just like he says like, all right, Aizawa, I hope you're okay. And he takes like bunch of heroes, like 10 or 8 of them, and takes like, okay, but one thing, the gravity in that dimension is extremely tough. So I guess if you could handle extreme pressure, come with me. So except for All Might, everybody when they enter in this like dimension, they just goes like boom, they just like literally falls face first in the ground. It's like, oh, stop it, how can you can you stop it? And he's like, well, yeah, I can. So Deku just puts them like in a chakra cloak on them. Yeah, Deku has that kind of ability too. And the gravity is like, they can like, it's still hard to walk through all that gravity, but they can still like, it's not unbearable. So Deku tells them to, well, round up all the villains, will ya? And they round up all the villains, like put them in like literally on the rope, like tie them with like massively with ropes, because he uses like shadow clones. And then he poops and travels back to the original dimension, and then he goes to like, well, I should take them to the prison. And he just goes to the prison and take them to the prison, and they're like, the police people are like, what is this? And he's like, well, these are the villains that attacked the USJ like unforced simulation joint, like USJ playground, USJ grounds so they're guilty. And like along with them, Aizawa and Nezu came, and along with him and along with them, and Aizawa and Nezu confirms that this is like the one of the student of UA High, and he did this. And they're like, okay, damn kid, you're pretty strong, you have like a really really strong coke. And after this whole incident, we are gonna go to the sports festival. So in the part 3, essentially what we had was Deku like stomped all the villains in the USJ arc and like captured them and put them in the police station. And police are like, oh Nani, what just happened? And Deku is like, well, I just caught them, they were this villain, they were just attacking UA High students. And after that, police is like, damn, you did a wonderful job. And Aizawa and Nezu is like vouching for him. It's like, yeah, he's doing a splendid job. And after that, Deku is like, well, there are some loose ends. So what he does, like, he goes to like the dimension where he put like Kurogiri. He put Kurogiri in a separate dimension, and he put a Kurogiri in a dimension where it's like literally everything is lava. If you've seen the like Naruto anime where Kaguya like teleports them into a situation where it's like everything is lava. So Kurogiri, him being a mist, he has to like literally float and constantly like keep using his coke and not trying to fall. Okay, and he put like Shigaraki in the place where he put all the villains away, where it's like the gravitational pressure is so intense that he just can't get up. So he goes to he goes to like Kurogiri's situation. He grabs him and he teleports him, and he opens his like space-time ninjutsu portal, and he teleports into the like the Tartarus prison, where there's like a area like no cork is gonna be active there. And like for good measures, there's also Aizawa, and he's like his corks are like Kurogiri's cork can't work, he can't teleport, he can't use warp gate. But Deku, since he is an Otsutsuki and he's not using a cork, it's his chakra that he's molding into, is not affected by that. So he's not going to be affected by that. And so he's like, okay, he's yours, you guys take care of him. And after that, he goes to Shigaraki's situation, and he tells Shigaraki, now tell me everything. Who do you work for, and who is your master? And Shigaraki is like, why would I ever tell you, you punk? And Deku just looks at him, activates his Byakugan, and then he puts his palm in front of him, and he like activates his like hand Rinne Sharingan, because he has 2 Rinne Sharingan on his hands. And then he puts him like a Genjutsu, which is like a Genjutsu where you can literally get information from another person. And he just like literally like sees like Toya, that is like Shigaraki's like entire life story, like him being Nana Shimura's grandson and all that. And Deku is like, I feel sorry for you, man. I feel sorry for you. What happened to you? I feel pity. And he's like, I don't need your pity. All I need is to kill all the heroes. This society of heroes. I hate all the heroes. And he remembers himself that, didn't you want to become a hero? And it's like, yes, but that was a long time ago. But that doesn't mean that you always wanted to become a villain. You had a lot of bad things happening to you, but that doesn't give you the excuse to turn evil and hurt others. Then he uses like another genjutsu on him and let him remembers his childhood when he wanted to become a hero and aspiration. Essentially, it's like a talk no jutsu genjutsu. Okay, that's too many jutsus in one sentence. It's essentially Toku no jutsu, Kenu jutsu, Nippo, Rinne Sharingan, Tokunojutsu Genjutsu art. Okay. And after that, he activates. He just like takes him to the U.S. like Tartarus prison, and he calls all for one, and he calls and he tells everybody his backstory, and his people are like, what the hell? Like, I didn't know he's Nanashimura's grandson. And after hearing this, All Might and even Gran Torino, they're like bombarded by information, and they're awestruck with this information, and they're like, okay, we gotta have to help him. And Deku is like, look, Shigaraki, Toya, I'm not gonna call you Shigaraki because that's not your real name. Toya, I know you have been hurt a lot in life, but that doesn't mean you have to do heartful things and mean things to others. You can rise above, sorry, that was a burp, rise above your hatred towards society and do good for society, because you wanted to become a hero when you were young. Remember that? And it's like, that was a long time ago. Now I'm a changed man, and this society deserves nothing but destruction. And I'm gonna make this society into my own image, where everybody is equal. And Deku is like, I know this society is flawed, but the society that you are dreaming of, you're not gonna get that, because you're not gonna be in control of the society. It's gonna be your master, and your master, he's evil incarnate in this world. That's like top level talk no jutsu happening, like ninja art, talk no jutsu, Rinnegan style. Yeah, that's like top level talk no jutsu happening. Because I mean, come on, he's gonna be an Otsutsuki, so he's gonna have little bit of talk no jutsu in his arsenal. Okay, so after that, like Shigura and Deku is saying, like, look, I understand you have been hurt, but we're there for you. I am here for you. I want to be your friend. All Might, Gran Torino, and all the other heroes, and even the police, they want to help you, because your grandmother was a hero. Don't you remember that? After that, he cast a genjutsu, and remembering him, because of that genjutsu, he remembers all the good stuff that happened with his childhood, when he wanted to become a hero, and when he wanted to become a symbol of peace or something like that. And Shigaraki is like, kid, you understood me. You're the second person who completely understood me, but the first person was my master, and I'm not gonna betray my master. And after that, Deku was like, you left me no choice, man. And then he literally used his Rinnegan, one of his Rinnegan technique, and yanked his soul out of his body, and he's just knows all the information about himself, and he just cast a genjutsu with his Rinne Sharingan on his palm of his hand, and he just submits all the information about the League of Villains, All for One, Dr. Ochako, and Hai and Nomus, and all stuff like that, and Metal Liberation Army, all of that to all the heroes. And All Might is like, but you killed him. And Deku is like, hold on, give me a minute. Then he summons the King of Hell and activates the Rinne Rebirth Jutsu. And Shigaraki is brought back to alive. Yeah. And after that, after when Shigaraki is brought back to alive, the whole incident, everyone is doing well. And Shigaraki is literally going to what's it called? It's Shigaraki is literally going a therapy or a rehabilitation center for villainy, and his like counselors, he's gonna go to like mental counseling, and his counselors are gonna be like All Might, Gran Torino, because they are like linked with like Nana Shimura. So he's gonna get help, and slowly but surely he's gonna like abandon villainy. So after that incident, like, we're gonna go to the forest training arc. Well, Deku is not gonna go to the forest training arc. Everybody else is gonna go to the forest training arc. But before that, Deku is gonna like do apprenticeship for like a bunch of heroes, like for Gran Torino now, after like Sir Naidai. So the incident in Hosu City does happen, but because he has like Byakugan and he has like Rinne Sharingan on his palm, he's gonna like clap all the high-end notes, like clap them hard. Like hard means hard. And after that, he's gonna go to like save Ida, and when he says like Stain is trying to hurt Ida, and he's gonna be like Shinre Tensei. He's gonna use like almighty push and knocks out Stain, and after that he's gonna like caught Stain, and people are not gonna be like affected by Stain, because since like they're not gonna join League of Villains, because he's gonna knock Stain, so Stain is not gonna do what he did in the original anime. So like Toga, Twice, Dabi, they're not gonna like join like League of Villains, because they don't have to, but they're still gonna like form their own like destructive force, which just wants anarchy, and they probably might even join. They probably would enjoy joining like the Metal Liberation Army, because they want equality, and these guys also want that. So we're gonna do the forest training arc and the rescue of Bakugo at 5. Okay, so essentially what I like, so because I haven't like uploaded few videos because my computer was messing up, so yeah, it was like being problematic. That's why I didn't like upload anything. Okay, so it feels like new. So essentially in the last part, like Toga, Twice, Darby, and other like members who got influenced by Stain, they didn't got influenced by Stain, so they're gonna like go to the Metal Liberation Army. By the way, this is part 5 of What If Our Boy aka Deku is an Otsutsuki. And while they're like in the Metal Liberation Army, like Bakugo gets kidnapped, and in the forest training arc. So Deku, since he's like a apprentice hero already, is not gonna be in the forest training arc, because he doesn't need to train. He's just like patrolling and stuff like that. So in this timeline, Muscular kills Koda, like the kid with the water cork. Yeah, he's gonna get killed. I know it's a sad thing, but he's gonna get killed. Several other students is gonna get killed. The Wild Pussycats, one of their member will be get killed, because I know it's kind of dark, but I mean and Bakugo gets captured, and All for One is thinking like, okay, I'm gonna make Bakugo my successor, and they're trying to like make Bakugo his successor. His like Dr. Ocharo is like trying to like make him the successor forcefully. And Deku, like in the original timeline, Yairaizu like literally like puts like a tracking device on one of the villains. She does that too here, but in doing that she loses one of her like limbs. I don't know, it could be her hand. Yeah, it would be her hand, and she makes like along with Power Loader makes like a pretty epic metal arm, cyborg arm with a cannon. Yeah, it's good, like Yairaizu with a laser arm. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. I like that. Okay, so after that they go and like Deku, everybody calls Deku like okay, Otsutsuki, like Deku's hero name is gonna be like Momoshiki. Yeah, it's gonna be not Momoshiki. It's gonna be Karma. Yeah, that's a pretty dope name. So it's gonna be Karma. So everybody calls Karma, and everybody's like, "Hey, Karma, they need that." And Karma is like, "Okay, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm gonna take care of this." And Karma goes to like other people and like goes to the villain location, and Karma just goes there, and after going there, Karma bombs the shit out of them, like literally like destroys them. He gets like he saves Bakugo. And in the original timeline where All Might and All for One fights, in this timeline Deku and All for One is gonna fight, and Deku, like All for One, is gonna use his tendrils and his like buff muscle big arm, like gear third big arm on his, and Deku is like, okay, oh yeah, you're trying to do that, and he opens a space-time ninjutsu portal, like a space-time ninjutsu, literally takes him to the dimension which is like literally lava, because he can float, and he's like the All for One is like literally like falling, and he remembers that he can use a cork which he lets him like levitate. So Deku is like, oh okay, so you can levitate. How about in that dimension? So he teleports him to again in ice dimension where he's just like frozen, and All for One is like frozen in that dimension, and Deku and All for One is like I can't move. So Deku, he uses like his Shinra Tensei and his like Rinnegan ability, like Rinne ability, and he uses like Almighty push, and then he uses Almighty pull, literally pulls like the ice shard with him, and then he uses like Bansho Tenin, literally creates like a seal, like a miniature, like what like Pain Nagato can do and what like Sasuke can do, literally like puts him like a gigantic gigantic like miniature planet looking, or like it's a size of a moon of like Earth, but it's made of like earth, ice and rocks and stuff like that. And he takes him, and then he teleports into the dimension where it's like constantly raining acid from above, and he just like lets them go to sleep there, and he's like, that's your fate. Even if you escape, you're gonna melt with acid. So essentially All for One, he's done for. He's like in a dimension where it's like constantly raining acid, it's like a acid lake. He's not even if he gets there, he's not gonna be like. So then Deku comes like, and he floats down, he activates his like Byakugan and Rinne Sharingan on his hand, and he says, I have taken care of your leader. Oh, beware, all the villains, surrender now, or I will put you through a fate that is worse than death. Because as he's showing that, he broadcasts with his Rinnegan and Rinne Sharingan. It's like a big genjutsu, it's like an infinite Tsukiyomi type of genjutsu, and he shows them that how All for One is like suffering, constantly like being like poured down, like acid is pouring down on his body constantly, and he's like he's just like not getting a like relief day. He's just effed up. So that's like literally all the crime rates in Japan and all other countries, they go down because they're like afraid. Deku achieved world peace, but through not by righteousness, but with fear, that if you step a single hair length out of line, this is gonna be your fate. And all the villains are like scared of him, and they like okay, this is worse than death, we better surrender and go to the and they just surrender, and they just went to the they just went to like several jails, and he's like, okay, that's it. And after that, Deku achieves his goal, and Deku says like, well, I think now I can harvest this planet. So he prepares for an infinite Tsukuyomi, and he puts everyone in the whole world into like infinite Tsukuyomi, and he's harvesting the fruit. Even his own mother and his father, he harvested a chakra fruit from that, and it's like several times stronger than the one that Kaguya harvested, because that wasn't that strong, because that wasn't like entire human race, but it was human race. And he literally like destroyed, like pretty much like he just like devoured every nutrients from the earth, and he's like, okay, off to a new planet. And because he just consumed earth, and like people like chakra and corks from different like every person from earth, he just his Byakugan, they just like upgraded themselves, and they just like evolved into Jogan. And his Rina Sharingan, there's like bunch of other Rina Sharingan on his forehead and on his like other body parts. So yeah, he's pretty damn OP. So after that, he's just gonna go to a different planet and repeat the same process again. So this is our what if Deku was an Otsutsuki part 5 and part finale ending. So like Earth is doomed. Okay, Earth is doomed. I know it's a kind of a bleak ending, but I mean, given the power and given he's an Otsutsuki, given his mission, I mean, that's what Otsutsuki people does. So Earth is doomed and Earth is effed. Earth is fucked. So this is your host and those, Kranti, once again saying tada, bye-bye, signing off. And before I go, it's a message from the sponsor, and the sponsor is me. Check out my other what ifs and check out my what if movies. And if you can find and if you can fancy, check out my music and my other playlist. I think you might like them. So this is your host and those, Kranti, once again for the last time saying signing off, ta-ta, bye-bye, and love ya. And enjoy and have a wonderful day or night or evening or noon, I don't know.